Hello everyone, this is Alien Clay by Adrian Tchaikovsky, and having read it now, I wonder if perhaps the author had a little trouble with people mispronouncing his name throughout his life, because our narrator here, one Arton Daghdev, there's a running joke throughout the book that no one pronounces his last name correctly, and I won't give away how that turns out. Turns out, at the crux of it, it winds up not mattering, but if you decide to go for it, I'll let you discover that little revelation all on its own. So Arton is an ecologist, but he was also a rebel, and the ruling Orwellian society has banished him to a planet that is some 30 light years away. Slower than light speed travel in this, so it takes 30 years to get there. They got to sleep through it. And so I generally don't let real science things ruin books for me. I sometimes take a little issue with, like, usually, and here it's sort of glossed over, it's just kind of crowded, so the mandate's looking towards other worlds. The fact of the matter is there's probably enough material in our asteroid belt to support quadrillions of people, so crowding's a long way off. So I dislike the crowding thing. Just go because you want to go, or you're trying to escape or something. But in this, so they get to the world, and this is an invasive biology world, and they live inside a dome. It is basically a prison camp, and they do things like study the science and biology there, but under a boot on their neck. Now, our narrator does author-narrator does a really good job of walking a bit of a tightrope here, because he does describe the events that these people go through, and they're horrible. But at the same time, he's telling it as a distant figure, and it's almost sarcastic and cynical. But boy, does it work really well. I liked the voice of the book. Among the horrors, this is a subtle one, but it's still... there's a device, it's a recycler, but it can recycle just about anything. Just throw anything inside of it, biologic plastics, it will recycle it, and you use it for the materials. The problem is, as he notes, there probably isn't a graveyard. So if somebody dies, they go in the recycler. So the chair you're sitting on, the fork you're using to eat with, and the food you might be eating might contain your buddy you were just talking to the other day. That's a subtle horror. The ruler there, just a good bad guy, but he is the science bad guy. But it's under the, he's got his foot in the boot that's holding everyone down. And they are all but directly. I think actually the term stormtrooper was used once here. There's some, modern day politics at work here. Community versus selfish individualism, because that is something the mandate seems to use against the people they are trying to control. The primary tool they use in this one, aside from just propaganda, is the idea that it's either one of their own who is already part of the mandate, and they send them into a group of what they're going to call terrorists, and they subvert the group and turn them all in, and they all get captured. Or it's someone inside who was just a good person, but they brought that person out, tortured the hell out of them until they turned someone in, or sent them back in to get all the plans and tell on everyone at just the right minute to get everyone. And so who turned in who squealed on who? Was there more than one? And it's a big, there's a rather revealing moment about who said what to whom and when. That is not just limited to one individual. It's rather, it was an eye-opener. So that's how the mandate works. And so you can never trust anyone fully. So it's community versus division. Sitting at the heart of this, I believe. The biology of Kiln, that's the world that they're on, Kiln, Kiln, is described as 10 times more complex than our biology here on Earth. There's a bit of foreshadowing, I think, concerning parasites and their hosts and how they actually work together and then can just hop up and go to another one. And that's one of the ways this works differently. There are several ways it's described. My favorite was that you have a company full of employees and it goes bankrupt, like a species that goes extinct. But here on Kiln, all those employees can get up, and these employees go to that company, and these employees go to that company, and these employees go over here to this company and start up a new company. And so that's how the biology here works. It is omni. It can latch onto anything, and it may take some time, but eventually it will biohack its way in. Screaming at the top of her lungs in horrific fashion was one of the first people to make contact, and they keep her in a cage. One of the things they like to do is put a person inside the cage with her while she just screams bloody murder and babbles and gets her waist all over her and so forth, and just to drive a person insane. And so we will find out how and why and what happened to her and what she has to do with the invasive biology and the community and the division. So this is it was a smart book. It is dense in thought because the narrator is giving all his views of what happened in hindsight, and it's done really well. So a very good book by Adrian Tchaikovsky, Alien Clay there. I have only read 2 other books of his. The first one was Elder Race. This is 200 pages. That make it a novella. That is a good book of science meeting fantasy on a long, distant world. And Service Model, which I did not like. I did not finish this book. The babbling of the robots kind of wore on me as a one-trick pony. I got tired and didn't just put it down. So 2 out of 3, not bad from Adrian Tchaikovsky. What's next? I am still in a sci-fi reading mood, but this just came out. Where are they at? Oh, sitting right there. I picked my spot good again. So here we have The Sword Defiant, The Sword Unbound, and this just hot on the shelves. The Sword Triumphant by Gareth Hanrahan, and this will be what I read next. In his youth, Aelfric slew the dark. Talk about pronouncing names. Aelfric Lammergir. In his youth, Aelfric slew the Dark Lord and saved the world, only to find out many years later that his heroic deeds had served only to preserve the corrupt rule of the Earl King. As keeper of the dread sword Spellbreaker, Aelfric was drawn into a desperate rebellion against the immortal elf who had been secretly manipulating humanity since the dawn of time. When it was done, he left the sword and the title of hero behind and went home. His tale should have been over. Decades have passed. Okay, seemed like there was a lot going on at the end of the last book there for decades to now jump ahead. But when a figure from his past brings a cryptic message from one of the 9, that's his adventuring group, it seems the Lammergir is needed again. Does the old hero have one last quest left in him? Can his broken sword be reforged, and at what cost? So looking forward to this. This is these 2 books made my top 10 list last year, so looking forward to the culmination with that one. That's it. That's all there is. New video in a week. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye-bye now.